pleased to be joined by 4 of our students this evening. So thank you, Ashwin, Diana, Freya, and Denise. Thank you very much for joining us, which to what hopefully will be quite an informative session for people who have joined us here, because you are the best advocates for the school, and can actually give your view of how Bosworth has been for you, and how it's helped you as well, really, with where you are going to next. So I'm going to start off with a few questions to you guys, and maybe we'll take more questions in from people in the room later on at the end as well. Okay, so Denise, can I veer some questions towards you to begin with? Okay, I've got 2 questions for you actually. So first question for you really is, we've been talking this evening about how Bosworth is an academic college and has some really good, outstanding results. How has Bosworth helped you achieve your academic success?
So when I come to Bosworth, I really appreciate the fact that we are taught in small size classes, so our teachers can monitor everyone's progress very closely. So they will identify the mistake that you make in lessons, and therefore after each lesson, they will make sure that you have a really very solid understanding on the topics of the lesson. I'm also very grateful for my teachers who are very experienced in teaching, and they are also very experienced in exam techniques, and they provide us with normally very good homework for result past exam papers. So we have practiced throughout the whole year of how to hit the points in the mark scheme. In Bosworth, you also have a lot of extra support. You can ask questions whenever you need to. Every teacher in that subject, where doesn't matter whether that teacher does teach you or not. And you have opportunities like the math clinics run by Mrs. Scarlett, or the after school clinics where you can ask questions if you need to catch up on the topics that you missed out or you haven't quite understand yet. You for like more advanced or beyond your classroom knowledge, you can have chances to take part in different Olympiads or competitions.
Very good. You talked about class sizes there, Denise. What's been the average class size in your classes over the years you've been at Bosworth?
Yes, I've been in Bosworth for quite a long time. I've been in here for GCSE and for my A-levels as well. And this, obviously, because of COVID rules and stuff, now we even have smaller size classes. So now I think it would be around 7 to 8 people in a class. But even before COVID, it was still very small size classes, such as less than 10 or 10 people per classes.
And that's the way we'll go in the coming years as well, because that really one-to-one kind of support is really important, isn't it? And it's one of the features of Bosworth, I think, that really is valuable to you guys in your studies. The second question to you, Denise, is you took part in the Oxbridge programme at Bosworth. How did that help you gain your place at Cambridge for September?
So I find the Oxbridge program very helpful. So when we join it, we receive advice and support in, I would say, a general to a personal level. So in general, when we join the Oxbridge program, we all have a chance to find out about plenty of information about the application process. Then we had someone come in to talk to us about specifically the interview techniques for online interview, because this year the interview has been moved online. But personally, for example, for personal statement, I had constant one-to-one sections with the Oxbridge coordinator, Miss Winship, so we discussed my personal statement, and I got like personalized advice on how to improve my personal statement. I also got extra section for my admission assessment for my course. So I got one for biology and one for chemistry, which I really appreciate because these were very close to my desire, because I wanted to take those two exams for my admission, whereas other people may take different models. I also had mock interviews with my biology and chemistry teachers. They will prepare for me very good questions. Those questions I would say you would never be able to find online, and I will receive very personalized feedback, very helpful. Yeah.
Do you think that the mock questions and interviews you got were actually quite similar to what you did receive in your interview for Cambridge?
Yes, I would say the vibe was very similar, and the way my teachers asked follow-up questions when I say something, and they would push me forward,
Yeah.
push me more and stretch me more. It was very similar.
Good. Thank you, Denise. Thank you very much. Ashwin, if I can turn to you. Looking at how Bosworth approaches pastoral care and looking after his students, how do you think Bosworth has looked after you on your time here?
Yeah, I think firstly, the big benefit here is there are so many different avenues you could take to get support. I think there are so many options. And I think one of the first things is tutor time every morning, Monday to Friday, and you have someone to talk to there every time. And there's also a small group of people, a group of friends you make there, which you can, discuss ideas with, especially during exam time. I remember if I needed support, I always had friends in that tutor group, which I'd speak to before. And I found that really quite useful. But on top of this, we also had one-to-one sessions every 2 weeks. I remember these were really great because they give you personalized feedback on where you need to improve yourself, and wherever you're lacking, or what kind of things you can do to further yourself and get to that university place, or wherever you want to be, after sixth form. I think another thing is that I take for granted sometimes is that all the teachers are available by email, and you can just go speak to any teacher at any time if you want to. We have loads of free time in between lessons, study halls. We have lunch times where we can always go to the teacher in the staff room or wherever and discuss any problems we have with them. And finally, I think having the school nurse on site all the time as well. If I need to go to the sick bay for anything, I could always just go ask the teacher, and she would give me, a diagnosis, or she'll tell me what I should be getting up to.
Great. So you feel supported by all different people actually in the college, not just the teachers, but you mentioned the college nurse there as well.
Yeah. There's so many different methods and avenues you can get support from.
Fantastic. Diana, if I can move to you. I, in my opening session this evening, talked about how multicultural Bosworth is, with students from all over the world, really. What do you think you've gained from being in that multicultural environment and working with students from different countries?
That's one of the things I enjoyed most about Bosworth, how big the variety of people were. You could have, I think we even had people from Vietnam, Georgia, Russia, Lithuania, and so many more. And it really meant that in lessons you got to know people from lots of different cultures and find out lots of different perspectives. Something that I hadn't really experienced before, and I managed to make friends with people from around the world and learn new things that I would have never learned before. And it really encouraged you to think differently and step out of your comfort zone. And yeah, I just really enjoyed learning about the different cultures.
That's great. And do you think, now you've experienced that going into university, do you think that that's actually prepared you properly for life beyond Bosworth, actually?
Yes, actually, because I've already experienced it at Bosworth, and now I know what to expect at uni.
Yeah. Great. Next question, I guess, for Diana and Ashwin, actually, and you both might want to answer separately, because you were both invited to join the medic preparation program at Bosworth. Can you tell everybody what elements of that you found most beneficial?
I'll start if that's fine. Personally, I thought the support for the personal statement was very, very useful. So we started actually writing our first draft in February of year 12. So that's quite a few months before you have to hand it in, which is around October time. So by the time it did come nearer to the deadline, I already had a few drafts prepared, and it was less stressful near the time. I already knew what to write, and really towards the end it was more about refining my personal statement. We had a lesson in year 12 about how to structure a personal statement, and then over the summer we wrote the bulk of it. And in year 13 I would just go to my teachers who had lots of experience from having helped previous medical students, and they knew exactly the sort of things universities would be looking for. And every week I would come in with a new draft, and they'd help me with advice on how to improve. And towards the end, I felt very confident with my personal statement, and I felt very grateful for all the help the teachers gave me.
Fantastic. Ashwin, do you want to come in there?
Yeah, I think for me, the mock interviews would be the best thing that we did in the medic sessions. I think it's easy to sort of write down your answers on a piece of paper or think about them in your head. But when it comes to the real situation and when you're under pressure, it's hard sometimes to get all your thoughts out. And I think those mock interviews really help to build your confidence and make sure you're speaking clearly in those interviews, and you can really, get all your thoughts out and get all your points across. As well as this, I found them really tailored towards whatever unis I was applying to and the types of interviews I'd have, where if I was going to have a panel interview, then the teachers would make sure they'd set up a panel mock interview before that interview to make sure that I was fully prepared. And so I thought that was really, really useful when applying for medicine, especially.
That's great. That's great news. Freya, if I can move to you. We've talked a bit about how multicultural Bosworth is. Obviously, coming from the UK, what's it been like at Bosworth for you, being an English student?
It's been absolutely amazing. It's the multiculturalness of the whole school. Like Diana was saying, you get to meet so many amazing people from so many different countries and cultures, and I have friends from all over the world and friendships that hopefully I'll kind of keep for the rest of my life. And I think that's such a kind of, educational and incredible kind of thing to have, and going on to uni as well, like we were saying. And I think as well, like being a day student, there is obviously, when there's borders, they have more opportunity to kind of spend time together and everything because they're physically living together. But I never felt like excluded or like I couldn't make friends because I wasn't having that kind of element of the kind of life at Bosworth. And before I came, I was worried about that, but I really didn't feel that at all. Everyone was kind of so welcoming, and it was just so easy to kind of mix between. You don't notice any kind of who's a border, who's not, who's British, who's not. Everyone gets on. It's amazing.
It's a really nice environment, isn't it? It really is, and everybody's so nice and friendly. Students and staff, actually. Yeah, that's brilliant. So, apart from your academic studies, Freya, what other skills do you think you've developed along the way at Bosworth?
So I've done a lot of different kind of extracurricular elements at Bosworth. I've been on the student council, I've been a student ambassador, I've been kind of like a support mentor, I've done lots of different things. I love that there were those opportunities and kind of things that you could do, and they're all things to put on personal statements and talk about in interviews and all those kind of things. And I think it was amazing that like there was those opportunities, and they helped with things like public speaking, confidence, being kind of in charge. When you're an ambassador, you're kind of helping on like open days like this. Obviously, if we weren't in COVID, this would probably be in the real world, and then you're kind of helping moving people around, and you kind of really get a like an experience with kind of like people skills that I think you can apply to interviews, further jobs. Especially for me, I want to end up in a position that's kind of managing, and I think having those people skills and learning how to manage and dictate was so influential and so helpful for me. And those different kind of extra groups that I was offered at Bosworth definitely helped with that.
That's brilliant. That's great. I think one question that I'd like to ask as well, to end this really, and I'm opening it up to any one of you actually, for anybody listening to this and listening to you about your experiences in Bosworth. If anybody was thinking of joining the college, what advice would you give them? That's to anybody here now.
I can go.
Freya, off you go.
I would say just take advantage of everything. Take advantage of the fact that it's multicultural. Take advantage of the fact that you have teachers on hand, of the programs like you spoke about, like the Uxbridge, the Medic, get involved in student councils. There are so many kind of incredible different facilities and things that you have access to, and really take advantage of them, because they are so helpful when you do.
Brilliant. Anybody else want to come in there?
I think I'd also agree with Freya in terms of taking all those opportunities. I think that coming to Bosworth, and even such a simple thing as playing table tennis at lunch and just interacting with all the different people there and really meeting all of these different multicultural people is a really great opportunity to have, and you shouldn't let that go.
Yeah, great. Diana, Denise, anything you want to add in there?
Just reiterating, make sure you speak to people. At lunch, we all eat in the canteen, everyone at the same times usually. Make sure you sit with someone and make friends,
Fantastic. Denise, anything you want to add?
Yeah, we just want to say that if you're someone new coming to Bosworth, you shouldn't find yourself being confused under any certain circumstances, because everyone is very lovely and they are all ready to help you to answer your questions. You can ask the receptionist, the staff here, the students, everyone can help you out with your questions.
Thank you very much, four of you. I'd like to open it up to anybody else now, actually. Does anybody have any questions they would like to ask? There's a question here from Esther. As a foreign student, what has been the biggest challenge so far?
So I guess I would take this one. So as an international student at Bosworth, I think the biggest challenge must have been being far away from home and not being able to go home, especially under the COVID situation. I've been in Bosworth since September, and for the Christmas holidays as well as the Easter holiday, I wasn't able to go back home as I would have done normally under a normal situation. So that has been a really big challenge to support from homesick and stuff. But being in Bosworth, I've been receiving a lot of support from the teachers and from my friends here in the boarding environment. If I have any worry, anything that I need to talk to, I only have someone to be able to talk to me and to support me mentally as well as physically.
Good, thank you, Denise. Esther, hopefully that's answered your question there. There's another one here that's coming from Mira. Freya, I think you touched on this question. Maybe you'd like to just explain a bit further if you could. Do you do anything to help the day pupils and the boarders integrate?
So I think there's so many things that really help it. I think small class sizes help because you really get to know the people in your class, and obviously the classes end up a complete mix. But especially at the start of term, there's often things to kind of help you get to know everyone. I've been here since year 10, And I think it was only like the second or third week, our head of year and the principal took us to Oxford for a science fair. And we were all on a bus, we had packed lunches, and we were completely mixed, boarders and day students in a bus, and we spent all day walking around Oxford. I've actually been putting together the year 13 leavers video of photos from all of our trips, and the amount of photos from that trip, just we all had the most amazing time, and I think it really bonded us as a year. So stuff like that just really helps. The trips, the class sizes, and just the fact that everyone's so friendly, I think helps as well. But I definitely think those two things, the fact that, you know, Bosworth does really try and help you integrate, but it doesn't really need to try very hard. It kind of happens naturally with the class sizes and how much free time we have. We have long lunches and stuff that I think helps. Like Ashwin was saying, playing table tennis is the way to make friends. So
thank you very much. Another question come in from Tobias. How do teachers support you? Are you able to see them after class? Who would like to take that one? Diana.
So that
Lovely.
the teachers definitely support you. Even during lessons, they will walk around when they give you work and see if anyone needs help. Since the classes are small, that's quite it's quite easy for you to express if you need any help. You don't feel intimidated, if which you might have felt if the class sizes were bigger. In study halls, you can go to the teacher and ask whoever's taking over the study hall to look through your teacher's timetable and see if they have a free period. And if they do, you can go to see them. They will always be willing to help. So you can see them personally as well if you don't want to ask them something in lesson. And by email, like Ashwin said, they'll always reply as soon as they can, usually on the same day if it's a weekday, or by the next morning.
Yeah. Great. Next question. How do you spend your weekends? Are there any school trips? Hasn't really happened this year with COVID, but can you mention what's happened previously? That might be one for you, Denise, really, with how you spend your weekends.
Yes, I'm trying to remind myself back in the time where we didn't have COVID. There were quite a lot of school trips actually happening back then. I remember one time there was a trip to Oxford, Cambridge, Oxford or Cambridge, and there was a trip to an amusement park, or a trip to London, actually, to the museums. There were different activities that were going on back then, but now with COVID, obviously we can't travel far to different cities and stuff, but we still have activities that are going on in between the borders. We organized, for example, right before the test week, we had a pizza night where the boarding staff order pizzas for all the boarders, so we can gather in the garden outside, so we can keep the COVID restrictions in place. We ate together in a group of 6 outside in the garden, so that was really lovely. We normally had like movie nights and activity nights as well, so there are plenty of things going on. But if you just want to organize things by yourself, of course you can as well. We have the race course right next to our accommodation, so you can only go spend time with your friends and stuff.
Yeah, good. There's been some pizza nights and stuff as well, hasn't there? This term. I think, you know, when we eventually get back to some kind of normality, which hopefully will be from September onwards, you know, we have been talking as staff about weekend trips that we could do in the coming term as well. Several different things, such as, you know, from zip lining adventure ropes courses to visiting Cadbury's World, Alton Towers, different things, as well as going to see a show in London, and visiting Oxford and Cambridge as well for days out. So there's a variety of stuff that has happened and will continue to happen in the future as well for all the students. So I hope that's answered your question there, Esther. A good question actually that's come in from Tobias now, especially with walking from one building to another, is, do you feel safe on campus?
I'm happy to take this one, and I'd
Sure.
say that I definitely feel safe because there's so many things in place there. And I think the first thing is everyone has a lanyard. You can tell when someone's a Bosworth student because they always have their bright yellow lanyard on them. And you know, we're told we can ask someone if we don't recognize them if they have their lanyard on them as soon as we enter buildings. Make sure that no one that we don't know doesn't come into the building. And also when we're walking between buildings, it's a very, very short walk normally. And even if you do feel worried, there's always someone to come with you. You probably have some friends to come with you. And so most of the time you spend your time inside the buildings, and it's quite a short walk anyway.
Yeah, thank you there, Ashwin. There's a good question here as well that's come in from Mira. What do you think could be better at Bosworth? There must be something that could be better. So, what do you think would be areas that you think, yeah, actually we need to work on that?
I think currently with the COVID situation, things are a bit different, but things will get better as the situation improves. But I think with the online learning, it was a bit more difficult, but now that will hopefully not happen again. But I think the situation will improve by itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's just been a challenging time, hasn't it? But everybody's adapted really well, I feel, to it. I think, our stringent measures with COVID, and they were quite stringent, but we've kept the community healthy and safe by doing so. But as things go on now, we can release that, I feel, with the way things are going in the country, and a lot of the teachers have been vaccinated, and a proportion have been received a second dose as well. And I probably in the coming months that will go down to probably some of the student population as well. I would imagine there's talks of vaccinating 16 to 18-year-olds, possibly down to 12-year-olds as well. So we will be able to release things further as these things happen. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you think, buildings-wise, extra subjects that we can offer, something like this? Denise?
Talking about extra subjects, not specifically about extra subjects, but before, I was wondering if I could take more extracurricular activities, because when I was in GCSE, there wasn't much extracurricular activities going on, and as an international student, I don't actually know much about different things different opportunities that I can do in the UK. But now I know we are trying to integrate their after-school activity, after-school extracurricular activity times. So starting from next year, I think that would not be a problem anymore for their upcoming students.
Yeah, that's exactly what we identified and working on. So that will get a lot stronger as well. Provision is good, I feel, but it's going to get a lot better there. And we've started, planning for Duke of Edinburgh Award now as well. They'll get going from September. And also Year 9 have started Lambda public speaking courses. And if they continue that all the way to Year 13, then with that you gain gold medals, but also UCAS points as well, with Duke of Edinburgh and Lambda. That can give you extra points towards your university courses. But also, you know, as you very well know, public speaking coming across really well, eloquently, in university interviews as well. So it's going to strengthen that aspect at a younger age in students. And I think another thing that will change in the after-school program as well is that we've been discussing bringing the Medic and Oxbridge preparation courses down into younger year groups for preparation into year 12. And I think that will actually make a big difference in preparing students. You know, you've talked really well, guys, about how you've benefited from that. But imagine if that came at a younger age group and you got far longer to prepare as well. So hopefully that will add value to students in the future as well. Yeah. Do you get any support in applying to universities?
Yeah, we get plenty of support. I think since the beginning of year 12, we've been told about universities and, you know, making our decisions, and we always have someone to talk to. I think Mr. Lewis is a great example of someone you can talk to straight away. If you need to know anything about universities, he knows everything about them. So he's always a good person to ask. All the teachers you can ask for advice on. I think for me, applying for medicine, it was great to talk to some of my biology teachers and even some of my chemistry teachers. And really get, you know, their experiences and what places they think I should be going to. And I think in terms of the assessments we have to do for universities, I had to prepare for the UCAT and the BMAT test, and I got adequate, you know, support for both of those, and I felt really prepared before both of those. And I think in terms of applying to university, this is one of the, you know, like I think one of the best points about Bosworth. They give lots and lots of advice and support.
Yeah, good. Two more questions here. So, are you able to gain work experience during your sixth form studies?
Yeah, there's plenty of opportunities for work experience. Personally, since I applied to medicine, I volunteered in the local hospital, and that's available for everyone to do. Even if you don't want to do medicine, volunteering in a hospital will still be a valuable experience. And there's plenty of charity shops in Northampton Town Centre and other opportunities you can do. The school will does arrange things for you if you ask, and you can ask teachers for ideas on what to do if you're not sure about it. But yeah, there's plenty of work experience you can do. I would especially recommend to do it over the summer between year 12 and 13, or even during year 12, so you have it already done before you apply for uni.
Absolutely. That's so important, isn't it? Really important. There's another question here, the last question that's on the stream, which is a good one, actually. And what's the food like beyond the pizza nights? So how would you rate the food at Bosworth? I've got my own opinions, but let's listen to yours first.
For
Denise?
me, the food was never a problem for me. If you wonder if like I have different cuisine in my country, and when I came here, I was actually worried about whether I can cope well with the food here, but it was never a problem for me. We always have for either lunch or for both lunch and dinner. Actually, for both lunch and dinner, we would always have 5 main dish options, ranging from beef, pork, chicken. We will always have vegetarian options, and if you're vegan, I think I'm sure you can ask the kitchen staff to bring out a special vegan option for you as well. And beside these main dishes, you have options for the side dishes such as rice, potatoes, pasta, and you got salad and some cold dishes as well. So plenty of food, plenty of things to choose from.
It's a good option, isn't there? It's a good variety, actually. Ashwin, Diana, do you want to add anything in there?
Yeah, I'd say there's a great variety of choice. As when you walk in, you see, food from loads of different countries out in front of you. And then again, the sides as well, there's loads of different choice there. I think, it's a big upgrade from my last school, especially. I think the food here is really, really good and it fills you up. So it does its job.
Yeah, very true. Diana, would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Food's never been an issue for me at school. I like that there was so many options. You always had something that you would like, and you can choose how much food you have. Just tell the person how much food to put on your plate or not. It was, yeah, nothing to complain about, really.
Yeah, absolutely. From my perspective, as the principal of the school, I've been quite fortunate, really, because over the years I've been traveling the world, inspecting schools in various countries, let alone in the UK, but globally. And I can honestly say that the food in Bosworth is something I haven't seen before in school cafeterias, because it must be the only school I've seen where you get salmon fillets and teriyaki glazed salmon fillets, for example, and they're lovely, I've got to say. And the variety there is great. There is something for everybody, and the salad option is there as well. Yeah, I can't praise the staff in the college enough, especially the cafeteria staff as well, because they do work their socks off for all the students, as does everybody in the college. But they do it with a smile on their face as well when they serve your food. Absolutely. So I think, yeah, I completely agree with you. The food is lovely, actually. It really is. That's all in the stream. Does anybody